Alright, so I'm going to do a really quick video. I know that obviously the current outbreak, it's more important now to have open and free software. Largely due to the fact that, we can sit here all day and talk about how Adobe will charge subscription fees no matter what, and they're not really helping out the common good. So my answer to this is open software is far in excess greater. So in lieu of this, and the fact that Adobe is again encroaching upon intellectual property that I've already distributed in an open forum, and conveniently they managed to copy exactly what I've said and translate that. So these particular corporations need to be brought heel to toe because they're misbehaving in a very big way. As Microsoft stop the cost of Microsoft. In fact, now they want to get you to sign up to an online login form. So I've just decided I was gonna do two videos. One is this video where we're talking about like coronavirus outbreak and how proprietary software, even intellectual property, applying to the virus, the coronavirus, and there is a patent that currently exists under the extraction of the coronavirus, I believe it is, but you can pull it up. It's on Justia Patents, and you can just type in Justia Patents coronavirus, and you will actually see, I believe after reading the patent, it's something to do with the extraction of the virus, although this is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, and the language they use is so vocabulary intensive that I don't think the average person even knows what the hell half these patents even mean, even software patents. So I wish everybody to be really safe, but at a time where we can work from home and at a time where we are not traveling to work and we're not going and doing everything, and some people are even losing their jobs and things like that, it's time to start thinking about open software in a very serious way. Adobe still wants subscription prices. The banks in Italy will freeze your mortgage, but Adobe will not suspend its Creative Cloud subscription fees, which in any situation, a multi-billion-dollar corporation should be suspending certain fees, or at least halving the fees or helping it. And I'm not just talking about Adobe in particular, because it's a creative works, and I'm very sensitive about that. But there are other companies as well that could chip in. But obviously other companies, they still have to pay the electricity bill. They still have to pay AT&T, namely servers and cloud-based. If the government turn around and say, for businesses, especially telecoms, communications, your electricity is free, the service of the rental of the lines and all the rest of it is free, everything is free, and we're going to secure your workers, we're going to secure communication lines, it should be free, and we should be receiving a free service, because us, the taxpayer, are ultimately funding this. And whatever we borrow in these times, even at low interest rates, it means we owe it back, and we owe it plus interest. So the people, once again, will have to pay it back. Now, you do need loans and you do need these things in a crisis, but I want to illustrate the point that there are some very big corporations who are capitalizing on the consolidation. A lot of people don't understand this. There is a lot of consolidation happening right now. You think that the stock market has stopped. It hasn't. And when there's a crash, someone's making some serious bloody money. A lot of corporations can go out of business. The smaller corporations, not necessarily just because you think corporate, don't think big flash building, they've got you all conned. A corporation can be fairly small in scale, even not much larger than a medium-sized blue-chip company. We're talking about not a very big corporation. These corporations are bought out by bigger ones in a crisis, like the coronavirus. So this is all a complete and false and utter load of nonsense when we look at the real facts. So I want to put this video out here. I was going to do one big video about my new ideas for Blank Canvas, but I think my ideology needs to be spread as well. My ideology is this, that whenever you want to create something, it should be respected. Whenever they want to file a patent on something, there should be an easy process to remove a patent. Whenever you talk about something in such plain English that it clearly, no matter under any ambiguous language, can be replicated in a legal instrument, which basically what I'm trying to say is, if a layman like me spells out what they intend to do in their software, and somebody comes along with big lawyer's vocabulary and tries to put this into a legal instrument, aka a patent, then that instrument is null and void, and ultimately is just a sacrificial object to the gods of how to waste your money on pathetic, whiny lawyers who think that IP is the only thing. Here's the hypocrisy of it all. The large corporates will say, well, it's not about the idea, it's about who coded it. But the moment that the man in his shed who came up with the idea and codes it, takes him a lot longer. It'll take me a lot longer. Then, oh, well, no, it's about the idea. And we've patented it. You see, they've done a 360. First, they were saying to the man in the shed, well, you know, it's not about who codes, you know, you've not coded it yet. Oh, yeah. It's about the idea. And we coded it. We did all the hard work. We coded it. Then when the man with the idea codes his idea, the corporates say, well, it's all about the idea. No, it's all about the legal instruments and the bullying tactics of large corporations. And a lot of people think that I'm being ridiculous, but what runs the tills at Tesco and Sainsbury's, they can ration you through the software, and I think they should ration people through certain things, because people are just daft. They'll buy things and cause panics just for buying things, like toilet paper. I mean, really, couldn't you just buy the Daily Mail instead and just wipe your ass with that? Instead, they're stocking up endless amounts of bloody toilet paper, and nobody can get it anymore. I even had a woman come in my local shop. I went to my local shop, bought myself some beer. I didn't buy toilet paper, but there was a woman there buying up all the rest of the toilet paper, and the shopkeeper said, look, you can't come in here and buy the whole lot. I'm going to have to limit you to one. And it's ridiculous, because this is where this country is going. It's full of people who seem to rely too much on the government to tell them what to do. Like, we should have done this anyway. This should be in corporate planning anyway. We have had months in advance of China, months, and we sat there like lazy buggers and didn't do anything. Not even our own corporate leaders did nothing. I work for a corporation. I must admit that I do like my corporation that I work for. It's a good company, and they don't make software or anything like that. They just make blinds and curtains and things like that. I'm not going to give them a shout out, because obviously I don't want them to feel like I'm associated with them, or I don't want to feel like I'm associated with them. They just make awesome blinds, basically, curtains. You probably heard of them if you're in the United Kingdom. So they're a very large company, but they're really, really good. And those types of corporations I'm happy to work for. Other types of corporations, I feel saddened by empowering them. Because, if I was to go to work for a large tech company, they would take your ideas and then they would claim them as your own. And unfortunately, all you'll get is a pat on the head and maybe a £5,000 raise after 10 years of working at the company. So I'm lucky and fortunate enough to work in a technology section of the company that is ultimately a company not really based on technology. And so that's good, because it frees me up for other things. So during this outbreak, what will you see? You will see a larger consolidation of corporations. You will see a larger consolidation of software corporations, because software runs the world, and it still runs the world, coronavirus or no coronavirus. Software is actually running the world more now with coronavirus. How come? Well, telecommunications, YouTube videos. People staying at home more are going to be using more of these communications, using more of these services, and using more of the software that runs it. Software is not weakened by coronavirus, but indeed increases, and it will continue to increase. So before I go on to talk in my next video about some of the great software ideas I've come up with, remember, you need to not only be part of this software project in your ideology, but also in your mindset, because soon I'm going to be launching the community. I can't do it all myself. I've realized that. But I can lay down the base plate, and we've done really well. Feathers is in. Now I've integrated Feathers and Nuxt. Now I've integrated Feathers, Nuxt, and end-to-end testing software is great for when we start building out the Canvas interface. I've got the interface running on the web. I've got it running in Electron, and I've also got the interface running in NativeScript. This is available on the develop branch of Blank Canvas, but eventually I'll be branching off and doing the proper thing where you branch off, you create a feature and you put a pull request in, and that way you can keep track of everything. And I'm going to create a real workflow. That way, when I'm ready to launch and people want to contribute code and contribute information, they certainly can do. So I just want to say that this is the time where people are going to have to realize that they're relying a lot upon the technology in which we, the taxpayer, are basically paying for. Why are we paying for them? They're on about the rent bill. What about the electricity bill? What about the AT&T rental line bill? The government, I want to be very clear, has no money but our money. And if we're subsidizing those companies, we should be getting this for free or at least at a discount price. And that will be the decent and honorable thing to do. But you will not see Adobe or any of these other corporations really make a difference. They want to claim creativity, but how do I know they're a fraud? That's mainly because they copy. And if you're uncertainty, I don't care what you say about copying. Copying is good. It's a form of evolution. However, stealing is not copying. Stealing is saying, here's an idea and you can no longer replicate that idea because I have a legal instrument written by vocabulary motivated monkeys who sit behind a desk, paid tens of thousands of pounds an hour to write these idiotic and quite frankly overextended legal instruments called patents so that they control it. The patent office will say, well, it's there to help the little man. The little man can't afford a patent. I can't afford patents. And I'm not well-to-do, but I have enough, but maybe just for one patent. That's how much they cost. They run into the tens of thousands easy. These things are ridiculously expensive. And then the corporates say, well, it's all to help the little man. I don't think so. So, amid this coronavirus outbreak, I don't want you to get more worried or stressed. But what I want you to do is focus. Focus on the things that matter. Don't buy things like idiots do and cause panics that allow corporations more control. You start panic buying a lot of other items, the stores will bring in software to automatically ration you. There will be software tracking people's faces from store to store to make sure they're not secretly buying from one store, going into the next and buying another 12-pack of toilet paper. And seriously, what is this thing with toilet paper? Coronavirus doesn't give you the runs, all right? And if you don't know what the runs are, it basically means diarrhea. Coronavirus is just a coronavirus. Really, tissues are useless next to this thing. You have to have just hot soapy water. That's it. And even hand sanitizers. Seriously? Just buy one small tub of hand sanitizer. And you don't want to do it every 5 seconds because it's pointless. It only works 5 times in a row and then you have to use hot soapy water. Use it. But what am I trying to say here? Stop in order for the government, I think a lot of people don't realise it goes both ways. If the government wants to treat the people with some kind of responsibility, be responsible. Stop doing these things. And if people are the ones causing the crisis, everybody blames the banks. Now, the banks are clearly responsible, but who is it really? The people who can't afford those loans, taking out those loans because they can. And you're seeing that happen now. You're seeing it happen now. We'll take out a loan because now with coronavirus, the interest rate's so cheap. They'll even sign up to a variable interest rate. So they'll overborrow, over-leverage, and then on top of that, if it's a variable rate loan, then the interest rate will go like that when the coronavirus goes, and they still don't have a job. I'm sorry, folks, but what I want people in this project to be is people who can think for themselves. I don't care who's coming in and bullying us and intimidating us or wants to destroy our lives. You're either going to stand for something or you're going to let them carry on doing this. But the majority of the population are not programmers, and the majority of the population are not good programmers. There's an even lesser amount of good programmers. A lot of people call themselves programmers and all they know is HTML, CSS. That's not programming. That is markup languages. It's just styling. It's the niceties. It is not programming. It's going to take a lot of balls, and we're going to need some great programmers on this project. I will be setting up a web page. I'll be talking to agencies. This is the time where we need to really think about, is open software going to really benefit us? As software is now becoming even more powerful. Soon, Microsoft want you to sign up with an online account to get into your own physical computer in front of you. You have to have an internet connection. You have to connect to the Microsoft servers. That tells them when you connect, how you connect, who you connect to. They know everything. And this is already what Microsoft do, but they're going to make it mandatory now. It's ridiculous. And people are paying, agencies are paying tens of thousands of pounds to upgrade Windows licenses. Nobody has anything good to say about Microsoft Word. Nobody has anything good to say about Outlook. Nobody has anything good to say, apart from the web interface, which I can even easily replicate. No one's got anything good to say. No one's got good things to say about Adobe as of late. I've had so much trouble and problems updating software. This is supposed to be, yes, very complex software, but let me tell you, coding for the web is far difficult than coding for the desktop. I find if you can code for the desktop and you can code for the tablets and the native script applications, it's a piece of piss. Once it works, it works. That's exactly how it looks. That's exactly how it renders. It's so much easier. Anyway, have a think about it, because there's going to be more people like yourselves sitting at home, and then you're going to have to pay an Adobe subscription on top. And then maybe you won't be able to create things because you're too busy buying toilet paper, butter and bread, and oddly enough pasta, to actually be able to continue your creative endeavours. So, with that due, please remember who holds your balls right now, and it will be Adobe, because that's the way it's going to be. But in the future, with open software, the ball's back in our court. And Adobe own nothing.